WAPB Madison, and I've got a pastor in here this morning. Tell me who you are, what ministry you're with.
Yes, I'm Al Stewart, senior pastor over at Greater Grace Chapel in Holly Hill, and it's great to be with you, Shelley. I don't know if I could do the good morning, but I can try. I love it.
I loved coming to your church and touring your church. It's got old bones in it, and I love the structure and the unique place. I told like 50 people probably about it. I was like, I have lived here forever and had never been inside it, and that was such a special day that day. Yeah, so why do you, well, you've been on WAPN. Why were you on WAPN? And I know you're coming back soon.
Absolutely.
So tell us what made you want to be on WAPN?
Yeah, first of all, I think, and I hate to use the word hidden gem because it shouldn't be hidden. We're always
love
trying.
That word.
Yeah, but that's what it
hidden
is.
Treasure. I like it.
It is. It definitely is. And people don't realize, like I was thinking, like I was talking to you before, I remember a story of a guy in front of a billboard, and he was going to end his life. And he literally this is a true story, put the gun to his head and looked up, and it said, "Don't do it. Jesus loves you." I was thinking of this truck driver at the Mackinac Bridge. This happened way back in the 70s. And they put a fence up, and he was climbing the fence. He parked his 18-wheeler and was going to jump over, right? Just all kinds of things happening. Someone stuck a Voice magazine into the wire in there, or that famous singer Laverne Tripp, when he was in his hotel room drinking, drugging, picks up the gun, the phone rings because God told someone to call that hotel and connect them to that room. I mean, incredible stories. That's what WAPN is for our community, man. Like while we're in nighty night land, sleeping away, la la land, we don't know when somebody's going to hit that 91.7 whatever, and they're going to hear the gospel.
Well, it's interesting that you're saying that, because we have our second station, Madison 91.7 in Madison. Yeah. It meets a lot of jails and stuff, and it is amazing how many letters that we received and testimonies from the jails up there that say, you're the only word we get, the only light that we get. And then here we've had, I'll never forget, I'm trying to remember memories over the last 40 years, and I live here. We have the radio stations at the end of a long driveway, and it's a very thin driveway. Right. And one time when my parents were alive, so over 20 years ago, we heard this beep beep noise outside. We were like, what the heck is going on outside? We opened the door, and a semi-trailer truck was backing in, and we thought, well, that's a long, hard back end, first of all, and like, what are we getting delivered? I mean, we weren't having anything, and it came to bring a donation, because he was on the highways and the byways in the middle of the night.
Oh, see.
And somebody was giving a word over the air.
That is awesome.
And he came here. He hunted us down to come here to drop off a donation. And it was, wow. You know what I'm saying? And then another cool thing, since we're talking about crazy things like that, is we used to have a midnight prayer line here. And, I always thought, well, who needs a midnight prayer line? But then I thought, my mom used to say, everything bad happens after midnight.
That's true. That is true.
We would actually have pastors live on the air, and prostitutes would come to WAPN for prayer.
Love it.
And our pastors were bold. They would open the door and let them in and pray for them, because they said, and even in my mother's latter days, she would put the app on and put her phone underneath her bed and underneath her pillow and listen to the music to help her sleep because, of the pain and the discomfort. Sure. And I think, wow, I didn't think about that till just a minute ago when you were talking about those things.
Yeah. When I did television up in Connecticut, I purposely picked, and I did live TV for 5 years. I purposely picked late night, like 10:30 to 11:30. I was on late at night, and it was
because you just don't know.
Yeah, and by the way, if you ever get the hankering to do that midnight prayer, you put me on the list. I'll come in here.
Oh, I mean, it's always available.
Yeah,
it's always available.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just something.
That's incredible.
Well, the 40 years, two things that we have done strong on. I know I've changed the walls. I've went crazy with all the technology. We have always believed and stayed on winning souls to Christ and praying for people. Amen. Amen. And we've always allowed prayer line to be any hour, anywhere that was available. Awesome. Yeah. And we pay half a prayer line. Yeah. So WAPN covers half the price of prayer line because that's how important prayer line is. Yeah. So I've always told people, even if it's just like one time you want to come in and do it to try it out, I don't care because you never know who is on the other end.
And I'm with you. The later at night, I mean, look, people who are dealing, I mean, look, we know anxiety, depression, these things are rampant in our society today. And that makes WAPN all the more essential. May I use the word essential to our community.
Yeah.
And we're getting the word out. I mean, a little bit at a time. I certainly talk about it a lot over at the church. And
well, it's just funny because whenever I get discouraged, and I do get discouraged, let's not get, I do.
Sure.
God puts me somewhere, and then somebody will hear my voice or my laugh, and they'll go, "You're Shelley," and I'll go, and then I'm thinking, what do one of my children do? But I don't have to say that anymore. They're all grown up. So I'm like,
Listen.
And then they tell me. Oh, I listen, or do you know that? And they start humming a song to me, or they start, and it's so cute because I think it is really priceless. We're a hometown little radio station that reaches the world.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool. So why did you pick to be on WAPN then? That was my question.
Well, because I want, first of all, I wanted to, for the same reasons you do, and that is to reach people with the gospel, but also to support. I mean, look, I'm just going to brag on you a little bit. When I came in here and I'm like, "Where's your crew?" I think your daughter was here, and that was like, I'm like, there's no way. Don't tell me you're doing all this, and I don't know how you. I mean, when I was doing my program, you were even helping me with the editing and whatnot because I didn't have anybody to do it, and I just think you're amazing with what you do. So I want to be supportive of that. In fact, can we talk about this?
We can talk about this because I love to eat.
And you know that, and I know you weren't thinking about it. And I said, "There's
Actually,
no
you're the
way."
person.
Yes,
you are the person. I was at his church, looking at his church to see what's going on. He goes, "Let's do something for the 40th." And the only reason why I wasn't in the 40th mood, and I'll be totally honest, is, since COVID, times have been hard.
Yeah.
Times have been different. Times have been weird. And, every ministry has struggled since COVID in one way or another. And I was like, well, I just can't do that right now because there's other needs I have. And you're like, you just can't not do it. And you planted a seed, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You said, here, I'm going to be the first person to plant a seed to do this.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to do it in the parking lot. We're going to put some tents up in the parking lot. I just found out, I thought we were having a barbecue guy come, but Four Rivers just stepped up. And I said, oh, no. Four Rivers is coming, and so I'm a Four Rivers kind of girl.
Can I just tell you what they do for us?
Sure.
Every Wednesday, and this is for any pastors or leaders, we have what's called the Volusia County Leaders Meeting every Wednesday morning at 8:30 at Four Rivers Barbecue. They give us the back room. Alicia there, it's a Christian organization at the top. They give us the back room, a huge back room. They provide coffee, and they don't charge us a penny.
They're good people. They're good people.
They're like you.
No, thank you. But we have been partnering with them on other adventures for a few years now.
That's awesome.
My daughter this morning was here early this morning because we need to start button down stuff. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've just been overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. She said, Mom, today's the day. And I was like, okay. So we sat down, and then she goes, Mom, I know you wanted like the smell of the barbecue out there with a big thing, but she says, why don't we do this? And I said, you know what? You're right. Why do we do things that I don't know that person, or I don't, they haven't supported WAPN. I don't mean that disrespectful, but why don't we do things that are of WAPN?
Right.
And Four Rivers has been part of WAPN and part of my family. And so
incredible.
I know. The only thing I was mad about them was they gave up sweet potatoes. And I was like, why? Well, the cost of life. They went up so much.
I like collard greens. I'm a collard greens fan. They got some good collard greens over there.
They have to be cautious of prices also. So I was like, okay, I understand now. I'm over it. But I am very excited for that. So we're having it here on the property.
Awesome.
And it's going to be for whosoever. At first, I was trying to do this I just want my pastors to enjoy each other. And then my daughter's like, Mom, we want everybody to enjoy WAPN. And she's totally right.
So it's for anybody who wants to come?
Anybody until the food runs out. It's
Saturday, September 27th, 11:30 to 1:30.
Yep. Now, we are actually 40 years old on the 26th, but I decided to move it to Saturday because I wanted everybody to have a better chance of coming. Awesome. And because on a Friday, people have life and stuff and all. So we're doing it that Saturday, 11:30 to 1:30.
And by the way, I can't tell you what it is, but certainly for you and your daughter and a couple of people here, and maybe a few others, we're going to have on behalf of Greater Grace Chapel, we're going to have a nice gift for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's going to be cool.
God has just been so good.
It's going to be cool.
Once, it's so funny. I have to laugh at myself because I always put myself like in this box thinking I've got to control what God's trying to do. And I think we all do that. I really do, especially in ministry. Don't you feel like we do that?
I have a message that I preach many times. It's called, keep your hand off the switch.
Because
I'm with you.
I'm totally that
totally
person.
with you.
And so thank God I have a daughter and I have a husband and stuff that say, would you please stop? Let us do this. Let's figure out this.
Amen.
So it is 4 generations of WAPN. I'm
awesome.
the second. My daughter's the third. And my granddaughter now is sending me music for Fridays and Saturday nights. So the 4th
That's
generation.
awesome.
So 40 years. I thought, how cool is that?
Yeah.
I'm loving that my pastors are coming in and talking to me and telling me, So I guess my last question before we end, because I don't want to make them long. I want to make them short and sweet. Tell me something special that drew you here.
So I was thinking about that when I was driving over here, and here's what happened. When I got into town, I did not hear about WAPN first. I heard about some other places. Mm-hmm. And so I contacted because I've done TV, radio, as I've shared with you. I've done a lot of stuff. And I never heard anything back. If you remember, I sent, I don't know if it was an email. I think it might have been an email, something. In a matter of hours, you got back to me, and I said, I got to meet this person. Came in here, and that's when we both talked about something that we were both going through and all that.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm still going through it.
And honestly, here's what I'm just going to say. You're the real deal. And I want to be involved with the real deal with people.
I used to be called, my show used to be called Shelley Raw. Because, I was never on radio when my parents were alive. I worked here, but I was the geek behind the scenes, doing all the stuff to make radio good. And when my dad died, my mom stepped up. And my mom was in and out of here a lot. And I always just worked the board for her and did whatever she needed. Then she dies on me. And I mean, pretty fast. We went from getting diagnosed to 13 days later gone. And so the board says, well, you got to step up. And I looked at them like deers with the headlight on. I said, I've never done radio. And they go, well, you're doing it now. Because by law, you're required to do so many public service things in the area when you're a nonprofit radio station. So I started, my first show was with Sue Kelly, Ray and Sue Kelly, and it was Shelley Raw. And people said, why'd you call it that? I said, because I'm raw. And God is so good. Because I used to listen to different people and try to get their flair, but you're yourself.
Absolutely.
You're your own self. And today I actually have somebody coming in this afternoon that I used to listen to him to hear how to interview people. Yeah. And I get to interview him this afternoon, and it's quite an honor. Yeah. And I think the doors that God has opened and the things he has done for me over these last years. My mom will be gone 13 years on Monday. Yeah. And I think, wow, I hope I've done what they've wanted me to do.
Oh, I think you've gone above and beyond. And let me just say this. I've done a lot of radio. I've met a lot of people in radio. I've met a lot of TV personalities, names that if I threw out, you would know. When I've done interviews with you, you always ask the right questions. And not just you, but the sister on Saturday mornings. Pat.
She'll be here.
Yeah, same thing. Pat, like you guys got your stuff down really, really good here.
Guess what it is? You want to know our secret?
Tell me.
Our secret is, my secret is, I ask what the listener would want to hear. Yeah. I don't ask the polished questions because the polished questions are given to you by the individual that only want to talk about that. But sometimes you need to talk about the real and raw stuff of the world and what's going on and why you chose that. And even when you were having a conference at your church, and it was a conference that was kind of controversial. Yes. I thought that was so neat, and that you were bold enough to put it out on Facebook, and you were bold enough to say, hey, we got all this stuff coming against us, and there's this stuff out there, but we got to fight against it. Yeah. And, but if you don't talk about it, how's anybody going to know what to fight against?
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
So that's when I shifted into I never have a script. I might say, can you give me a couple talking points if I don't know anything about the thing? But it's funny because I'll look over them and then it's like I don't even look at them because I think you need to be from your heart.
Yeah.
You need to be real.
And you know, the listeners sense that, the realness. Our motto is real people, authentic grace. That's what you have. You're just real. And that's what so when you ask me what drew me, it's just how real you were.
Well,
like,
see, and
you're
I
honest.
love how real you are because I can go to your church and hang out with you.
Anytime.
You know, I
the
love,
coffee's on.
You know, and I love that I could walk around and there's little picnic tables and there was a storage place and all these cool things. And I was like, he just taking his time. It's not like I had an appointment. It's not like I had to be dressed a certain way. It didn't matter if it was a bad day, good day, whatever. You're just welcoming. And so tell us about how we would come to your church. When is your church services and where are you located and how we call you?
Yeah, we're and it's funny. Thank you for saying that because somebody in the church last week said to me, hey, this person I've had breakfast with here and there, and they're like, I know you're busy, so I don't call you whatever. And honestly, I stopped. I walked back over and I said, can I ask you something? I said, yes. I said, please don't say that to me again, because if I'm too busy to meet with you, then it seems to me I ought to be looking for something else. But we meet, Sunday mornings at 10:30 is our service. We're at the point where we're contemplating maybe a second service. We're not sure because we're limited. We can get about 150 in there, and we're running pretty good. Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good. And like you said, it is. Our claim to fame is the building is like 118 years old. It's on the Historical Society. It is the first church in Holly Hill that ever existed.
And I'm the only radio station in Holly Hill.
And you're the only radio, so we have that in common.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first in this area, frankly, in Volusia County, eastern Volusia County. So, just come on. I'm Al Stewart. You can get a hold of me. I have a Facebook page, or just go to Greater Grace Chapel, Volusia County, on Facebook. And we'll be coming back with our radio program soon, so you'll hear us back on the radio.
Well, he's a one-man show like me, so it makes it hard. Now, so if I'm listening and I'm a pastor and I want to join in on you at the thing on Wednesday mornings, is anybody welcome?
Yeah, anybody, even you would never be able. If you ever get out of here, actually, when we get off the radio, let me talk to you about that. I never even thought about that till just now. So it's for if you're in any type of leadership in ministry in Volusia County or a pastor, basically come to Four Rivers Barbecue. We meet right in the smokehouse there in the back room.
At One Daytona?
One Daytona, Wednesdays at 8:30. Now, we're on our summer schedule, but we are meeting this Wednesday. And then it'll be 2 weeks. And then the following Wednesday, when September kicks in, it goes back to every other week. So June, July, and August, pastors are busy,
everybody's
whatever.
busy. People want to take vacations and all that stuff.
They do. But if I could just say this quickly, I would like any pastor listening in out there, could I encourage you to be here on the 27th Saturday? Come grab a burger, whatever. But more than that, come and meet Shelley. And you'll experience what I did, and you'll become part of the WAPN family. Please do that.
I want to get you so that you'll do a midnight prayer line. That would mean a lot to me.
We're going to talk about that as well.
We're going to talk about that too.
That might be what we do.
So thank you so much.